Hello everybody, I'm Danger Gen Vex and welcome to another house build. Although technically this time it isn't a house build. What it was supposed to be was a house refurbish. And it turned into a house remodel. Now, the backstory of this house remodel is that a friend of mine, Keita, and I decided that we wanted to remodel each other's houses. And he took the recent build that I did, Infinity Falls. I took his house, Finnish house, which is a very traditional type of Finnish home, very simple and elegant and functional and warm, you know, for those cold Finnish winters. And I was supposed to give it new furniture. I guess I did more than that.
Yeah, I would say just a tad more, just a tad.
This, everybody, is Keita.
The one and only Keita Darkwolf, yes.
And it's wonderful to have you here with us. Thank you so much. I've missed you.
You're so welcome to be here.
Hug time.
She is actually hugging me.
Yeah, of course. Hugs are the best. I love hugs. So as you can see, we're just taking a quick look at the house. Gave you a bit of a frontal view, gave you a side view. We're going to look at the inside of the house in just a second. But you can pretty much see it's very, you know, it's kind of traditional.
Yeah, it's very traditional. That's what I attempted to do. It's very Scandinavian, very straightforward, very simple. Of course, a lot of the stuff that was in there is not in there anymore because of the lack of packs, but yeah, it was very traditional, very straightforward, nothing very fancy, just
very Scandinavian.
Very Scandinavian. Yes. Very Finnish.
Don't hit the microphone.
I'll try.
So yeah, I'm just showing you the rooms. As you can see, as he said as well, very natural colors. It even has the sauna. You know, which is apparently key.
Very, very Finnish.
And then I was like, yeah, well, we're not in Finland anymore.
Yeah, well.
So the sauna kind of had to go. So in just a second, I'm going to start removing the furniture. And like I said, I really had intended to only do a refurbish. You know, maybe use different wallpapers, different floors, you know, change the roof colors and that thing. As you can see, we've sped up the video now because now it's time for stuff to happen. But as soon as I had everything, you know, back in, everything sold, everything in drywall, I decided, okay, now it is time to begin with the house. And the first thing I did is I traced the outlines because for some reason the rooms didn't register properly.
Yeah, that's probably a feature of a lot of my builds. I just build completely off the cuff. No pre-planning at all, so a lot of it probably doesn't really room properly, if I can put it like that.
Okay. Yeah, no, it happens sometimes. Even me, you know, with my planning and everything, sometimes it just goes, you know, BOONG! But what, as you can see, like, I knew that I wanted to kind of keep the, you know, the porch thing that you put around the house. I wanted to keep some of that. I knew that off the bat. But what kind of bothered me was, first off, because I switched the front of the house.
Yes,
you know, what's now the side of the house used to be the front of the house. And what's the front of the house now used to be the side of the house. But I switched things around a bit, and I didn't want you to, you know, walk all around the house from all the porches. I wanted some of it to be kind of private.
I can't quite remember how I oriented the house. Maybe when you placed it, it just turned the whole thing around.
Yeah, I turned it around.
Oh, you turned it around. But yeah, the porches are actually also a very Scandinavian feature, which is why I put them in the first place.
Yeah, I have apologized profusely. I even offered to, as you can see, I'm just checking out pillars right now. I wanted to make sure that I used, you know, a pillar that I'd be happy with, that was, you know, both simple and elegant and functional and all of that. But I don't know, I offered to redo the house and stick more closely to the rules and just refurbish it instead of, you know, bloody redesigning the whole thing. But as I said as well, you know, I told Keita as well, it started when I put down those half circles or quarter circles, whatever. And then later on I do something to the roof. And after that, things just went for a bowl of shit. I mean, refurbishment was the last thing on my mind. I had a vision of this house that I couldn't let go. And I'm very sorry.
Well, knowing you, it was never going to go any other way.
He's very patient with me, very indulgent with me and my horrible Sims habits.
Sims habits that we both share. It's one of the reasons why we're friends in the first place.
The whole Sims addiction thing.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty much one of the big features, wasn't it?
Well,
besides the writing.
Yeah. So those of you who don't know, well, most of you probably don't know, but Keita and I actually met because of NaNoWriMo, which is coming up in a month.
Yes, actually.
Again. I hope I can actually do something, constructive and useful this year. But NaNoWriMo is National Novel Writing Month, and it's where you write a minimum 50,000 word novel in 30 days. It's basically a month where you don't sleep, don't eat, don't do anything except drink a lot of coffee and write like your life depends on it. And we met that way 3 years ago?
2014.
3 years ago?
Yeah.
Holy hell.
No, it was actually earlier than 2013.
Was it?
Yes, because I remember my big breakup was in 2014 and we met before that.
Yes.
So it must have been in 2013.
Fuck me. Okay, so we've been friends for 4 years, coming this November.
Apparently so. Wow.
Wow.
Time flies.
Wow, okay. Yeah, so, and aside from the writing, one of the big things that we discovered we love, except from supernatural stuff and, questionable, not quite romantic, but still rather erotic. Anyway, so Sims was one of the big things that we found we had in common.
Yes.
And since then, we've been building stuff and playing characters. We have this playthrough that we want to do. That actually, I'm a huge fan. Both of us are very intellectual, and we love, different kind of psychiatric approaches, psychological stuff, philosophy, and those things. And one of my favorite theories is about the butterfly effect.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And a playthrough that we really, really want to do, should we ever be in a position to be able to do it, is the butterfly effect playthrough, where we play the exact same family moved onto the exact same lot, legacy family, but play them our own ways, and then see how the families develop throughout the legacy playthroughs, and how the final legacy generation, the 10th generation, turns out based on the decisions that we and the
various characters make,
yeah. And a big thing about that is we try to influence as little as possible.
Yes. So we set the Sims to autonomous, and only intervened when we realized that it was going to affect the overall story, or the things that needed to happen that further the legacy.
Yeah, going to work, getting married.
Yes, especially the getting married part. I remember when we tried playing it through the first time, one of ours just simply would not commit at all.
I mean, I threw everything I could at him.
Yeah. I think that was the one where yours went for a female and mine went for a guy.
For the guy, yeah. I mean, I threw everything at men, women, conservative party players. I threw everything at this guy, and he would not get, because like I said, we based it a lot on their whims. So they saw who they wanted to see, started romantic relationships with who they wanted to be romantic with, and only if they wanted to woohoo with them, and actually build a relationship, we would do that. And this guy just would not get into it. Nobody attracted him. It was horrible.
It was awful.
I was starting to worry there would be no legacy.
Yeah, and those are the circumstances in which we might give them a little nudge.
Yeah.
As necessary.
I did.
As benevolent gods would.
As benevolent.
Now, well, we shall not disillusion our viewers, shall we?
Wait, let's not. We are very benevolent gods. Very benevolent. We are exactly the kind of gods you want to run your universe.
Absolutely.
We would never kill anyone you care about.
Absolutely
just for
not.
entertainment purposes, to push the story. Never. We would, and anyway, so this house.
We were talking about the house. Did we ever forget that?
So as you can see, the Finnish house that was is
no
now
longer
the
quite so
Finnish house
Finnish.
that wasn't. I mean, we went from woods and paneling and very neutral colors to whites and blacks and very modern kind of walls and features and that sort of thing. Now, this is where things really went wrong.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't say wrong.
I
just went
wrong.
batshit. But in a good way.
It went batshit. So I wanted to kind of extend the roof over this new extended porch. And I love playing with curved roofs, up and down and all kinds, you know. For those of you who've seen Infinity Falls, you'd know. So I love playing with curved roofs when I'm not doing flat roofs. And because Keita had already given this house a roof, I'd wanted to stick with that feel, you know, having a roof. Very quickly I discovered that the roof that was there didn't work for me.
Naturally not.
And it also didn't work with the rest of the house. That would have worked if this was still the front of the house. If this was still the front of the house, I might have kept it like that. You know, the little pyramid feature.
It looked wonky.
Yeah. On the side of the house, it just wasn't right. And very quickly, this whole thing, although it looked okay to begin with, again, it would have looked fine if that was the front of the house. But at this point, it just didn't look right anymore. So I changed things around again.
Yeah, big surprise.
Like I said, again, you know, by this point, I was lost. It was tickets for me, technically speaking, because whether I'd wanted to keep the house as same as possible or, you know, make changes, it reached the point where it was just a case of, yep, not happening. Fuck you very much. Not like fuck you. You know, I would never, I would never, you know, I would.
I know.
But I mean, fuck the house very much. So, I don't know, it turned into a full remodel.
Yeah, and you broke pretty much every single rule for this exercise.
I did.
Yes, you did.
I did.
But like I told you earlier, I don't mind at all. Because seriously, that turned out awesomely beautiful.
Thank you.
It really is.
Thank you. Aww, more hugs. Good. This is probably the fourth hug we've given each other. Just this guy, okay, can cuddle and hug like nobody's business. It's one of my favorite things from when he comes to visit is the fact that I get so many cuddles and hugs and stuff. And for somebody like me, generally I hate being touched by people. Okay, I don't like it. But these I love these. If you're gonna give me a hug, give me a proper one, or I will punch you in the gabba. So, actually, this house, the Finnish house, interestingly enough, as we told you guys, we write. We're both writers, and we're actually both forum RPG players.
Yes.
Okay, we write characters on forums, and we role play with them. Not all of you will know what that means, but to those of you who do, you know, I'm glad you're out there. And we started this habit where we would build houses for our characters. And this house was actually for a Finnish... Well, he is from Finland.
Yeah,
right?
he is from Finland.
Yeah, he is Finnish. I was like, how the hell could I forget that? It's Lassie. Anyway, so he is Finnish, and this house was actually built for him, the Finnish house. If I had to say which of my characters would live here now... you know what? Mia might live here, except it's above ground.
Yeah, she wouldn't like that at all.
No. Mia is paranoid. She's a very paranoid, security-sensitive character.
And with good reason, too.
Yeah, she's trouble, with a capital T.
Just ask Connie.
Who is kind of like her brother in spirit and etc. So, I'd say, you know what? Who would live here? Ali.
Really?
Ali would live here. She would either live in a place like this with its colors, combinations and whatnot, or she would live in a place that has a lot more like a traditional feel of her homeland. That would be more, you know, kind of Arabic. I would say she would either do Arabic meets kind of a British feel.
Oh, okay.
Or she would do like hyper modern, sterile kind of environment. You know, where she could notice immediately if anything was fiddled with. And then lastly, somewhere like this. We're just kind of in between those two.
Okay, I can kind of see that.
Those are the kinds of places where she would live. The character Ali is, she's an assassin. And she is also technically not completely alive, not completely dead.
Kind of a necromancer.
Yeah, stuck between worlds.
Stuck between worlds.
And necromancer stuck between worlds. I love, yeah. And so she's a necromancer and an assassin, but she is from Arabic descent. So she likes to refer to herself as a hashashin, not an assassin, hashashin, like the hashish, hashashin. And she would, I don't know, she likes the finer things.
Yes, I did notice that about the little bit that we saw of her.
Yes, she loves the finer things, whereas, you'd think they'd try and, movies portray them as these people who would rather, stick to the shadows and whatnot. If any of you have seen Red 2, okay, the second RED, a Retired Extremely Dangerous, with Bruce Willis and, Morgan Freeman and those guys, the second one. If you guys know the Asian, the Korean assassin with his private jet plane and his fancy suits and that is Ali. She's like that now that I think about it. She wouldn't actually bat an eye if she had to fork out $2 million to take a private plane somewhere.
Okay, that's news to me.
Yeah, she's not the type to hide in the some shit she hides, most of it she doesn't. She doesn't give a shit. Like, what the hell does she have to be worried about?
Half dead and half alive as she is.
Yeah, exactly. So, as you can see, I'm working on the living room here. At first, I wanted to keep everything symmetrical, as is my habit, with the TV right over the fireplace and all of that. But I decided to kind of go a little out of my comfort zone, and I did with this build, with this design. The interior design, I went very much out of my comfort zone. I used a lot of bright colors, like you can see with the blue and the teal and the aqua. I used a lot of art. I didn't build quite the big TV case like I usually do.
Yeah.
And I went very asymmetrical.
Which I would find extremely difficult to do.
Usually for me it is as well. I mean, I like my things nice and in line and proper.
Exactly.
I would like to draw a straight line from this side of the furniture to that side of the furniture. And this time I just went completely off kilter. Completely. I mean, the fireplace is in the center, but I've got a couple of shelves over here, more shelves over there. I've got shit stacked everywhere. I've got different kinds of couches in different colors.
I actually love that feature. That just fits the place.
It does,
down to
doesn't
perfection.
it? As you can see, I'm just working on some of the clutter here. I figured, you have those shelves and shit. In my mind, it's shelves, not counters. And you'd put stuff on them. Books and trophies and little stuff that you collected. And if you have a TV like that, you're going to have movie posters.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. So I had to put in movie posters. For some reason as well, I used a lot of plants in this design.
You always use a lot of plants.
I do always use a lot of plants, but more than usual. Usually I put like one plant down, and that's enough for me, and I put another plant somewhere else. In this one, I found that I put a lot of plants together. Like I did 3 over here.
I saw that was the first time I saw you do that. That's actually quite pretty.
It was the first time I did that.
My favorite feature of that is those little pebbles there at the bottom of them. I love that. That is so beautiful.
Thank you. For me, it was almost a logical kind of move because I have this fireplace surrounded by flammable carpet, flammable shelves, all of that. So I wanted these pebbles that, in my mind, they're pebbles, not tiles or flooring or anything, that would catch, the embers so that other things don't just spontaneously catch on fire. It's sort of like a safety measure.
Yeah. And I think that is another thing that we have in common when we build things. We try to look at the practical side of it and not just the aesthetics.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. Which is why when I really go all out on builds, more often than not, I have a lot of clutter. I don't always use matching set items. And it's because, you don't, go walk through your house. Unless you're an ordinary person or an interior designer, the curtains throughout your house won't all be the same. The window sizes won't all be the same. The furniture won't all be the same. And you'll have shit everywhere.
And not just shit everywhere, it's also things that you collected over the years from different places. And
exactly.
Different memories and different people. So they're not all going to be a uniform style.
Absolutely. Which is why, like, on the table, I've got books, I've got mail. I don't know if you saw, I put mail down. Because what's the first thing you do when you walk in the house? You just took your mail out of the mailbox, you smack it down on the closest possible surface. And if you have a TV like that, the first surface, I also put a gaming console in there.
I noticed.
Yeah. So the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to walk in those doors, straight over to your favorite couch. You're going to dump your mail on the table in front of you, pick up your TV remote, or not TV remote, the gaming console remote, and you're going to start playing a goddamn game. So that is what I kind of wanted to signify, and it's what we often do when we build, both of us.
Yes.
Now, the sauna, as I said, the sauna had to go.
Well, Fozzie, you're so disappointed about that.
Oh, poor lassie. But instead I I retained the guest bathroom. I just made it smaller.
Mm-hmm.
And I put in a very small but functional gym area. So that it had, mirrors, because you always have mirrors so you can see that you're working out. I put in this mat. I hate using that carpet. I hate using it. But I figured you don't want to stain your floor with the sweat and the machines. So because I use the kind of marble concrete flooring, you're not going to put the machines on a floor like that. No. So I have them on this kind of rubber flooring with the screen in front of the treadmill so that if you want to run a bit. I severely sized up this trophy so that it actually became a statue of...
A victory statue.
A victory statue. Just as a bit of motivation. Now, this carpet, I never use it. That mosaic thing. But this room, which turns out to be the activity room, again, and it's very bright. It's usually too bright for the kind of designing that I do.
Very much so.
But in this case, again, you can see in the gym, I use the bright green. Again, I use the bright blue here. And with that carpet, I even used a guitar. I would usually use that signed rock guitar, that Hell whatever guitar, that special edition one that we got.
Oh, yeah.
The Grimm's guitar.
Grimm's guitar. Oh, that.
But this time I used that one, that blue one, because I just felt it fit more with the personality of a person who would live in a house like that. They'd have something like that. They'd have a blue guitar or something. They wouldn't have just
something
another.
drab or...
Yeah. And I looked at the different kind of keyboards. I almost used the purple one. Almost.
Why am I not surprised?
Almost. But it was just too much out of the blue for me. Out of the blue that I was using for this room. So I went with, the one with the rainbow stripes instead, because it kind of fit with the carpet.
It does fit, and it looks lovely.
Thank you. Again. I filled this room with posters, as you will see momentarily. I've put up gaming posters and DJ posters and music posters, because I also occasionally just skipped over to the gym to put up gym posters.
Yeah, as we do.
But yeah, this is obviously a person who likes gaming, who likes music. Obviously, this house is mine. I just thought about that. Clearly this house is mine. This is just the kind of thing I would do. I would have books everywhere. I would walk in and dump the mail down so I can get to gaming. And I would have an activity room that is blue and purple and colourful and creative and everything.
Although I do think you'll have a lot more purple.
Lot more purple. So, you guys will also notice that instead of the way that I usually build, which is do the inside, then do the outside, I kind of jumped around a bit. And I went into doing a bit of the landscaping. And then I did that, and then I hopped right back inside. I didn't even finish the landscaping, I think. I just went right back inside to work on the bedroom. The bedroom did give me a bit of a problem.
Why?
Because, well, first off, you can see I did I did fiddle with the windows.
Yes, another rule broken.
Sorry. Well, like I said, it's easy. You just knock out a bit here and, put in bricks there. And and I usually, again, I build very elaborate headboards.
Yes, that's pretty much one of the main features of your builds.
Yes. And you can see that I tried to do that again here. But it didn't gel.
No.
It just did not work for me. And I didn't want to force it. So instead, I kind of tried to stick with the theme. And I used blue again until I reached this point. And suddenly, purple and turquoise was the new color of choice.
Wow.
And I didn't want it to be gothic purple. You'll see when I did the wallpaper, I didn't show it. But when I did the wallpaper, I started out using that gothic purple.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
and then I was like, no, not for a person who lives in this house. This is a colorful person. So not a gothic purple type person, but, more of a fun purple type person. So this is what resulted from that. And then I moved on to what I saved for last, the bane of my existence.
The bathrooms.
God, I hate bathrooms so much. I hate them so much. I can't... No, love, I hate them so much.
Yeah. Don't I just know it?
I don't know why. I mean, sometimes I can make really nice bathrooms.
You can.
But I hate them.
I mean, seriously, look at this. This is gorgeous. I love what you... Yeah, that, right there.
Mm-hmm.
That bath that is just tilted like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's lovely.
I don't know.
Much better than that triangle one would have been.
Well, I agree on that. I mean, the triangle one, to me, it almost felt like cheating.
Yeah.
Like making a force. But that one, it felt to me like it had all the nice features that the triangle bath has, but it seemed more, in that small kind of space, it seemed more tranquil.
Yes. It's also a little bit more impractical, a little bit more artistic. It's more of an expression of the person who would live there.
Yes, absolutely. And considering everything else was already, a lot of it had symmetry, as you can see here in the bathroom. Again, it's very symmetrical, the way it's similar and, but it still had its elements of asymmetry. Like the toilet shoved into a corner, or the bathtub that's slightly tilted with the bamboo. So I still used, I used more asymmetry in this house than ever before. Like what I did with the curtains down in the kitchen, I had blinds over by the fridge, but proper curtains closer to the dining area. And I only had one of the windows partially covered by a curtain, as opposed to doing this 2-2, like I usually do. And it is, I mean, I never use this much asymmetry.
Good exercise for you then.
Very good exercise, I suppose. I don't know if it worked yet. I'd like to think that it did.
It did.
But so. I fiddled about with some things here, some things for the walls. It felt a little empty. But then after I put the bamboo and the little fountain down, I figured, okay, maybe I can put up one more painting or something. And I ended up putting down this curtain. And then after that, I was like, yeah, okay, that's enough for the bathroom. Time to finish up outside. You'll see with the walls, just quickly, sorry to interrupt. Just quickly, the plants, in a lot of the places, the plants go over the walls. This is intentional. I used these walls so that when I put the bigger plants next to him, it would actually look like the plants were starting to grow over these walls, so that it's not completely manicured.
Yeah.
But it's there's a slightly wilder edge to it. More natural, I guess you could say.
Yes, and that would also fit in with the Finnish theme. But now you see, this is the bane of my existence, landscaping. This is the one thing that I completely suck at, and when we come to my part of the recording, you'll see it. My landscaping is a lot less elaborate than what Vex would be able to do.
It's because I love landscaping.
Yeah, because she loves landscaping.
I love landscaping.
I just think I don't like plants. That's my thing. I love to look at them, but I don't particularly like gardening.
Look, I wouldn't say I'm a massive fan of gardening myself, but I would like to think that unless I'm living in an apartment, I would have a nice kind of lawn. Not a massive lawn that would require hours of, mowing the lawn, but something like this, where outside of your fencing and whatnot, they can do whatever, but as you can see, the plants, they're not completely manicured. They're still able to do their own thing.
And that's the way it should be, I feel.
I think so too. So here's the side view. I didn't want to give you guys a back and another side view because you kind of see everything you need when we do the rest of the camera pans and that. But I mean the shell proper is kind of the same.
Well, the walls at least are the same.
The walls are the same. So it's the same. So there you can see all the knickknacks and the stuff that you've collected over the years just strewn about. Posters, paintings. There's the little gym area. And you'll see the guest bathroom again now properly. So I wanted it to feel both colourful, practical, and lived in, while sticking within the confines of the original frame.
Yeah.
I was supposed to do a lot more than that, but...
But I forgive her, because like I told her earlier, it would have been like asking Da Vinci to erase the Mona Lisa.
You're too...
To tell her not to include it. Because seriously, look at it. It's stunning.
Thank you. It's very flattering to hear that. I like that it feels like home.
And it definitely does.
Yeah, I mean, that is something I would do. All those books stacked right there, that is definitely me. I would live in this house.
Yeah, I could also quite comfortably live there, especially with all those books, the fireplace, and all those gorgeous windows. Oh, lovely.
Lots of natural light.
Yes.
Here. Lots of natural light. I think it's a very nice, comfortable home.
Yes.
I like it.
And it's a little bit playful. It's not so staid, not so proper.
Yeah, it's a creative edge to it.
Yes, and that's what I like.
Absolutely. You want somewhere where you can just, go out and be yourself every now and then.
Exactly. That's what a home should be. It
Absolutely.
should be yours and not for other people to come in and...
Agreed. Anyway, so that is basically the remodel of the Finnish house into the not-so-Finnish house. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. The house that Keita refurbished on my end, Infinity Falls, will go up next week. So be on the lookout for that. But if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a like down below. Also remember, not remember, because even though I'm recording it now, it's already over more than likely. But anyway, thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Bye!